Hi, I'm Greg Hall, and I'm going to go over a Tableau dashboard from our patient case bank system. So without further ado, let me click on our OEIS website. It's going to bring up our login screen. I'm going to log in with my user ID and password. So under the patient case header, I'm going to select Tableau category counts. So I'll click on that. It's going to bring up a dashboard from Tableau Public. So I have categories here. And I have my difficulties, easy, intermediate, and hard. So when I select objects here, or categories in this case, I'm going to get my ins and outs. And that's called set actions, which was really popular in the Tableau Conference 2019. Let me show you this. TC 2019 highlights. So over here it says Tableau Conference 2019 highlights. Under self-service analytics, we have set and parameter actions. So set actions was pretty much the highlight at the Tableau Conference 2019. So let me close this guy and go back to our dashboard. So one of the issues we had with set actions is that when we would select our objects, the totals on top would disappear. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to click this button, set action broken, with this panicking emoji. So when I select objects here, or categories in this case, the totals will disappear. So I'll select the first three categories. Notice I get my ins and outs, but my totals on top disappear. So I can't say something like I have 23 easy records from these three categories. 23 out of what? No totals? Or I can't say 103 out of, because there's no totals, or 26 out of. And that's why you see this panicking emoji here. And you also see this lady screaming, "My totals, where's my totals? Ah!" No worries, we can fix that. So I'm going to click on this button here, set action fix, with this happy emoji. So here I'll click on the same three categories, and notice now I get my ins and outs. So now I can say for easy I have 23 out of 53. For intermediate I have 103 out of 129. And for hard I have 26 out of 30. So how did I do this? So let me go to my Tableau desktop. Here's our data source, and it's coming from a stored procedure. So one thing to note is that stored procedures in Tableau does not like temp tables. Gotta remember that. So here I group by categories and difficulties to get my count right here. Here I have my category bar, horizontal bar chart with my categories and counts. I have my vertical bar chart, my difficulties, easy, intermediate, hard, with my totals on top. And I have my dashboard right here with the horizontal bar chart with my categories count and my difficulties with my easy, intermediate, hard, and totals on top. So the key thing is to make this dual axis. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's create a brand new sheet, and let's hide this sheet, hide title, and I'm going to drag my difficulty on this column shelf and drag my count on this row. And so I have my easy, hard, and interim or intermediate. You can't read it, so you better enlarge it. Easy, hard, intermediate, but it should read easy, intermediate, hard. No worries. I can go to my difficulty drop down and I can select sort. So here I have my data source order. It's a drop down. I can do this and click on manual and then click on intermediate. Click on this up arrow, so intermediate's in the middle. So now I have easy, intermediate, and hard. Easy, intermediate, and hard. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this count and put it on top of label. So we have our totals on top of each bar. Then I'm going to get my set action, set category set and drag it on top of colors. So to create your set, all you have to do is right click, for example, on category, and then go to create and click on set. That's pretty much it. So let me get my category set and put it on top of colors. So this is going to give me my ins and outs. The issue we have with this is that when you select your categories, you'll get your ins and outs, but your totals on top will disappear. So how do we fix that? We use dual axis. So let me show you how that's done. So what I can do is I can get my measured values here and just drag it up here. So I'm going to have two charts, two vertical bar charts, right? And next I can go to sum count, go to my drop down here, click on dual axis, and now I have a dual axis chart. But notice it changed it to bubble charts. No worries. I can come over here and change it back to bar. So it changed it back to a bar on the sum count. I need to do the same for measured values. I'll click here for that layer too, and I'll click on bar as well. So now we have one bar chart layered on top of another bar chart. So let me look at this. So we don't need sum ID, take that out. Measured names, take that out. And the key thing is in the measured value layer is to take the ins and outs, the category set, out of color, because that's causing the totals on top to disappear. So we'll take that out of this. So now these totals on the measured value layer will stay on top. Notice it looks a little fuzzy or blurry because it's misaligned. No worries, I can right click here, click on synchronize axis. So now it's perfect. It's one vertical bar chart layered exactly on top of the other vertical bar chart. So again, because I took the category set out of colors, the totals here will stay intact in the measured values layer. And we'll get our ins and outs because in the sum count, we don't need measured names here as well. We have our ins and outs here. We have our category set on color, which creates your ins and outs. And it takes out the totals, but again, we have it in measured values. So that's how that works. Hope that makes sense. So one more thing we have to do is go to our dashboard and set our actions. So I can go here, and I already did it on dashboard, so I'll just show you. And I'll go to actions, I'll highlight category set, and I'll click edit. So here's my category sets. It's in my difficulty underscore set dashboard over. So I need to make sure that cat underscore bar is checked. So this sheet is the one where you select your objects in your horizontal bar chart right over here to get your ins and outs. And this is unchecked. Your difficulty underscore dual, which is this guy here, this sheet here. So you're only going to check the one where you're selecting your objects to get your ins and outs. So here we have our data source right over here, and it's category set. Make sure select is selected, and remove all values from set is marked right here. It says here, clearing the selection will remove all values from set. So that's pretty much it here. So let me minimize this Tableau desktop, and let's talk about the JavaScript API event listeners. So that's a really important feature because you can select objects and it's going to know which objects you selected, and then you can take those objects and do whatever you want with it. You can store it to your database. You can use it as a parameter, maybe to drill down to another Tableau dashboard or your own software. So there's a lot of things you can do once you get your data. So you can select objects and do whatever you want. So let's reload this and let me clarify. So notice when I'll select the first two here, cardiovascular and infectious diseases, and you'll see this on top, you'll see it here. So I selected those objects and you can see it here. And if I wanted to skip oncology, I can hold down the control key and let's select gastrointestinal and respiratory right here. I can also deselect by holding down the control key and clicking on respiratory, and it's no longer there. Or if I want it back, I'll hold down the control key, and it's here, respiratory. So let me show you the code for this. So one thing to note, at the Tableau conference, you can take a 1-hour hands-on training, and they'll pretty much go over everything. And a lot of things you don't need to know, you pretty much just copy and paste the JavaScript code and it does the magic for you. You can walk through it if you want and try to understand everything. Let me just show you what I have. So what I do is I put a lot of my documentation underneath components, in this case our dashboard. So this shows me how I did my set actions and my dual axis. Okay, so here's some code from the JavaScript API. Let me go down here, scroll down. So this is to me the meat of it. This is your event listener method or function. Pretty easy to see. Again, you don't have to know a lot. You have to probably make some adjustments to it so it'll fit your fields. So for example, what it's doing here is just basically just looping through all the objects you selected. And then, for example, in this case here, it says if the field name is equal to category, then take the value of that category and it puts it into a variable. And then once it finishes through this loop, concatenating all the categories you selected, all it's going to do is, what I did here was I just assigned it to an input type text, or via the element ID right here, meaning that I have a input type text here, and via the element ID it's just assigning it that concatenated string of my categories that I got via the event listeners into that input type text here. That's where it is. And that's how I'm able to get this information here. Pretty cool. And what I can do in this case, let me show you what we did. I can click on post categories and it's going to post those categories I selected. Here we're in a different interface. We're no longer in Tableau. So you can use whatever software you feel comfortable with. We happen to be using .NET MVC C#. And our backend database is Microsoft SQL Server. So here in this interface, I'll just talk about it for a bit. We can do drag and drop sorting to prioritize our categories, and there's a flyout menu on each record. We can Google the category, look at detailed information, like in this case I selected infectious diseases. We have our flyout menus here. Pretty cool. So we also have another software we used. Let me show you that really quick. So it's using teller components. This is a teller component here, this grid here. So let me click on this guy. The advantage of this is that it's in real time, right? So if I make changes to this grid, or I filter on this grid, it's going to be reflected on this pie chart. So I can do stuff like deselect cardiovascular, and it's gone here, and if I click on it again, it's going to put it back. So that's like a toggle. I can do stuff like in Tableau, I can just select object here, select my categories, deselect it, select it again, and I can post these guys too as well. And same deal, drag and drop sorting, went to the same interface. So pretty cool. The advantage of using Tableau is that it has the JavaScript API. You don't have to write all this code. Like I had to write a ton of code to get the other one to work, to get the teller component to work. They give you the component, but you have to code around it. So Tableau gives you the API. You just basically have to, modify it for your fields. So pretty cool. So I also did something else too. I created what I called the event log. Let me show you. This is pretty important to know, or really good to know. So what I did was I got my event log, I got, remember, the field names and field values while it's looping through the objects you selected, and I'm concatenating it all and putting it into this log variable. And so right here, event log, let me show you what happens. So when I select objects, I'll just select a bunch of objects here, and I'll select objects here too as well. Then I'll click event log button right here. So here I have my event log. So it tells me exactly the objects I selected. It gives me the category names, the counts, the numbers right here. This is on the difficulty fields. It has intermediate, it has easy, it gives me the numbers. Pretty cool. So the beauty about this is that you can get through the event listeners, what I just showed you, you can get all the names and values, and then you have to parse, you're going to have to parse the strings and stuff. But you can put it into your database, do whatever you want. You can, for example, I got the categories, and I created these dashboard, a tree map, word cloud, and this is, again, your set actions. Again, I can select objects like this, get my ins and outs. So you can do stuff like that. So pretty cool. So let's close this guy. What else do we need to cover? So let me just show you another graph. We have reporting services, SSRS. It also can give you a graph. You can't do like select objects here and do set actions or anything, but this is a report writer, so you can do really complex reports. So yeah, and you have a lot of graphs to choose from, and you can export to various formats and print it out here. So, and you can do sub-reporting too, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so a lot of times I'll put all my, since this is a prototype, I'll put all my prototypes in here in a menu bar, so I can come up here, look at stuff really quick, and like for set actions, you can do a lot of stuff. There's like dual axis, you saw that. There's buttons, there's pie charts, you can do drill downs, multiple drill downs. You can do a lot of cool stuff with set actions. There's parameter actions as well. And again, it's good to put your documentation here, if it's especially if this is just your prototypes, right? So, because 1 month from now, you're going to forget things. So it's good to have documentation here. I have a button for documentation. Click on it, and I have a narrative video as well. And another good thing to have is feedback. So for the patient case bank system, I recently created a feedback interface. So I'll just briefly go through that. So feedback. So I think that's really important to have. So you can view your feedback. I can just click on this button. It has on each record to see feedback here. It's good to also have in your feedback the ability to have attachments. So a user may want to create a mock-up Tableau dashboard. And if it's an image file, they can, for example, in our case, we can just click on it. You can zoom in, zoom out, things like that. So it's good to be able to attach your files in your feedback. And the way we have it, I'll go through this really quick, is that if it's your feedback, you can edit it and do things with it. So in your flyout menu, you'll see edit submenu and a tool submenu, an edit submenu where you can edit, delete, and a tool submenu where you can attach files, email, do other stuff as well. But if it's not your feedback, you don't see the edit or tools submenu, so you can't edit it, but you can view people's feedback. So what else? Another good thing to have is narrative video. So that's what we do, and it's really helpful. I have like a menu like for all these narrative videos for Tableau. We have it for our patient case and a lot of financial stuff as well. So that's good to know. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. I hope I remembered everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.